I want to remind everybody that you can experience Cleveland Charge basketball at Public Hall this season. The Cleveland Charge, the NBA G League affiliate for the Cavaliers, are back in action for their 5th season in Cleveland. Charge alumni like Sam Merrill and Naquan Tomlin and two-way players like Darius Brown and Tristan Anaruma show the NBA G League is the home for future stars in the NBA. Join the Charge for WNBA night on Friday, March 6th at 7. We'll celebrate the WNBA's return to Cleveland by honoring the past and future of women's basketball in Cleveland. Tickets are on sale now at clevelandcharge.com.
Guys, the Cavs with a victory yesterday, getting revenge for their loss in overtime in Detroit. They beat the Pistons last night by a final of 113-109. It's a weird game because, first of all, the Cavs got very sloppy at the end and let the Pistons get within one score. But outside of Tyson, nobody really had much of a game in the starting lineup. They won this game because of Schroder.
Harden had 18, which is a little more than 8.
Right, but Harden didn't shoot well. Sam Merrill didn't shoot well.
No.
Jarrett Allen did nothing. Mobley shot well.
Allen got hurt.
Allen got hurt, right? Did nothing before he got hurt, and then he got hurt. Mobley made that big three, obviously, late in the game. The leading rebound. You know who led the Cavs in rebounds last night?
Tyson?
No.
Harden?
No.
Schroder.
Thomas Bryant?
No. He was tied for second.
No, I'm not sure.
Craig Porter Jr.
Really?
led the Cavs with 7 rebounds.
Yeah,
he's scrappy, man.
He gave us a good minutes off the bench.
It was a weird game. They got out-rebounded. They got outshot. But they it's just a strange game. Craig Porter played well.
So matchups make games.
Yeah.
In the postseason specifically, it's all about matchups, right?
Right.
I've said this before. I will reiterate it. I'll say it again.
Say it again.
The Cavs are a bad matchup for the Pistons. The Pistons are a heliocentric offense that's run all the way through Cade Cunningham. He's the only guy who's an initiator.
He didn't shoot well yesterday either.
He shot poorly in all 4 games against the Cavs this season. The Cavs have a number of different guys. Last night it was Jaylon Tyson. We'll dive into that in a second.
Yeah.
Who can at least make things difficult for Cade Cunningham. And if Cade Cunningham's not creating offense for Detroit, you have to pick and choose a couple guys that you're going to let shoot the ball who you feel pretty comfortable shooting the ball. Prior to the game last night, Kenny Atkinson was asked, hey, they're the number 1 team in basketball, or in the Eastern Conference. They have the best record. We know what they bring defensively, but offensively, what's your philosophy on a team like this that is so centered around one player? And Kenny says, pick your poison. Either you let him get his and take out everyone else, or you take him out and let the other guys beat you. And he goes, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do tonight, but those are the 2 strategies. It was pretty evident watching the game, and it's been evident watching all 4 games against Detroit. Their strategy is, Cade, you're not going to beat us. And if Tobias Harris and Ron Holland and Asar Thompson and Duncan Robinson and Jalen Duren and the rest of the guys in Detroit.
Duren's really good.
He's awesome, dude.
But if those guys are going to score a combined 60, 70, 80 points, the necessary to beat a Cleveland team that offensively actually does some things that Detroit has struggled to slow down, then so be it. And last night, Jaylon Tyson was awesome. And I cannot emphasize this enough. He was awesome in guarding Cade Cunningham. This block early set the tone. To keep up with Cade, by the way, Cade's 6'8", 6'9". He's huge. To keep up with him in transition, to get that block, it was kind of the initial, hey, we're here. We got this. I'm not scared. And there's one thing I want to mention about Jaylon Tyson. By the way, according to NBA tracking stats, he held Cade Cunningham to 1 assist as the primary defender last night. Jaylon Tyson, after the game, said, I like when the coaches challenge me and say, hey, your job is to take somebody out. He's like, I don't need the extra motivation. I know that's what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But when they put that trust in me, it brings the best out of me. And when Dean Wade's healthy, Dean Wade's in that spot. Wade's also done a really good job on Cade Cunningham this season. But look at these defensive possessions of Tyson.
You don't trust Wade in the playoffs.
I'm just making a point here, Bull. I'm not saying
but I'm saying we're talking about the playoffs. Who gives a crap in the regular season?
I'm saying when Tyson is put with a task like that, it seems to bring the best out of him. And he says, when I know that is my goal, I'm locked in. And last night was the perfect outcome for what a locked-in, determined defensive menace Jaylon Tyson could be.
He was great. I mean, I thought he was really good, especially in the fourth quarter. I mean, he had 7 points in the fourth quarter. Had some
couple big threes, too.
What do you have, 5 threes on the night?
5 of 12, 42% from beyond the arc.
That's pretty good. I never really think of him as a three-point shooter.
Well, Detroit did defensively what the Cavs did against Harden. The difference was 8 of 15 from Jaylon Tyson. Detroit got nothing from Asar Thompson and very little from Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, and That block was nice early. Cade Cunningham did have a nice block on James Harden in the final.
He's a good player.
Few minutes.
Really good player.
Cunningham's awesome.
I think he had like 15 assists in the game. But you're right. It almost seems like the Cavs would be better off being the 4 seed if Detroit's the 1 seed. Although, don't count out Boston catching Detroit at this point.
No, it's not impossible. I was talking to a Pistons assistant for the game yesterday, and I was joking with him, like, hey, Cade struggled against Cleveland.
Yeah.
Do you have enough scores in a playoff series? And his response was, I don't know. But is any team going to be able to match our physicality for 7 games?
That's a good question.
That's their
yes.
counterpunch. And last night, the Cavs did match their physicality. Now, it's 1 game.
Right.
It's not a 7-game series.
Yeah.
I thought on Friday night when they lost to Detroit in Detroit, they matched the physicality. I thought last night they matched the physicality. My big takeaway from these 2 games in, 72 hours?
Yeah.
Cleveland's not scared of Detroit. And we can say, hey, it's a good matchup on paper, but sometimes a good matchup on paper doesn't actually equal the result you want. When you go into a playoff series, sometimes you need a little bit of irrational confidence and belief in yourself to be able to knock off a higher seed, to pull off an upset, even though I bet you if these 2 teams played in a 7-game series, Cleveland would probably be the gambling favorite. Cleveland is not scared of Detroit.
They would be. The Cavs
not scared of
would
Detroit
probably be the favorite,
at all. No. And I thought that was the big takeaway
They'd be
from
a
last
slight
game.
favorite, I think, over Detroit.
Who are you going to be scared of? I don't think they're going to be scared of anybody. Shouldn't be.
Like in the East or just in
No,
general?
in the East, yeah.
No.
I mean, you're not going to be scared of anybody, period. But there's nobody worthy of being scared of in the East. I mean, the Cavs.
I mean, if Boston had Tatum, it'd be a different story. But
but they are. What's the latest on
is he
him?
coming back for the playoffs? I don't
He
buy
might
that.
play this week. He might.
I don't buy it, dude. There's
I
no
wouldn't be
way this guy's going to come back from this injury and be. Maybe he comes back and plays. I don't think he's going to be the player that he was.
Yeah, but even if he's 75%, that's still a huge difference.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't be shocked. And I have no inside information. I wouldn't be shocked if he's playing by March 8th.
He's going to get back
this game against Boston. He might be playing.
On Sunday.
Yeah, he might.
He's going to get back quicker from a torn Achilles than Max Strus is getting back. Is he ever going to play this year?
We did get a positive update on Strus yesterday.
Yeah.
Which was he has now been cleared to go into actual practices. Like he's been cleared to practice with the Cavs and the Charge, which is the next step.
But Tatum's already practicing with Boston. Right?
Tatum's been practicing. Yeah.
What's the Jared Allen status after last night?
Just banged knee. He told Tom Withers after the game.
Just a bruise or?
Yeah, just a contusion, nothing serious.
All right.
He wasn't obviously. It happened early in the third quarter. Those stats are from about 14 minutes of action.
Oh, I know. I needed 10 rebounds.
Yeah, well, that.
So, I mean, do you think if you had to bet right now, do the Cavs end up in the 4 seed? I think they will. I don't think they're going to move.
They can catch. I mean, how far back are they from New York right now?
I think they're. Well, I'm not saying they can't. I'm just that's
my
prediction.
I'm saying, well, are they
I believe
2 back?
they're 2 back of the Knicks in the loss column. I think it's 1.5.
They're a game and a half back.
Yeah, but 2 in the loss column. That's what matters.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, because the Knicks have lost 22, Cavs have lost 24.
Right.
I mean, they certainly could catch New York. They could catch Boston. I don't think they could catch Detroit for the 1 seed, but I don't think they're.
You'd have to win,
contention.
at this point, it's not that many games. You'd have to win a lot. It's not like the Knicks and Celtics are tailing off at all. They're both playing.
Yeah, but 2 games over 19 is not outrageous to
No, it's not outrageous. I'm just saying that's my prediction, is they finish as the 4 seed. Now, who finishes the 5 seed? There's 8 teams that can end up as the 5 seed. If you look at 5 through, I want to say at least.
It's 9, 5 through 9.
Yeah, they're all within a game, even 10, I think.
Yeah, because the Hornets and the Hawks are both tied 31-31 at 9 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
No, they're too far out. So 5.
Raptors, Sixers, Magic. Or 5, 6, 7.
Who's 8?
Heat.
Miami Heat at 33 right now.
I'm pulling up the
What's Miami's record?
standings.
33-29.
How far is that behind the Cavs?
We're at 39 and 24, so
7.
about 6 games back.
All right, so all right. But so any of those, I'm not saying to catch the Cavs. They don't have to catch the Cavs. I'm just saying to end up as the 5 seed to know who the Cavs would play in the first round.
The
Heat
Raptors
only
are 35 and
2 games
26.
Right.
So
the Heat are how many games behind the Raptors?
2. It's
Yeah,
Raptors have 35 wins.
Yeah.
Right. So I think if the Cavs do end up the 4th seed, what I'm saying is we might not know who they're playing in the first round till the last day of the season, the way 5 through 8 stacks up right now.
I think the Cavs will for sure be the 4 seed. I don't think they're going to.
No. I'm saying,
you're saying
who they're going to play.
Who they're going to play against?
Who the 5 seed's going to be is completely up in the air.
I don't even know who I want to see. Mikey, who do you want to see?
All those teams are playing pretty well right now, right?
As the 5 seed, who would I want to see?
Give me the Raptors. We own them.
They're playing well.
They're a weird matchup for Cleveland. They beat them, 3 times this year?
Yeah.
Already? Now
Who else is in that mix? Because all those teams are playing well, correct?
The Magic, the Sixers.
The Magic, right.
The Sixers are 4-6 in their last 10. The Raptors are 5-5 in their last 10. Orlando's 6-4. Miami's 6-4. The Hornets are the best team lately. They're 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
Won 5 in a row.
All right.
But
Anyway.
So I think the game was, other than the fact that the starters didn't have a big game, I think it was a weird game. I thought it was relatively...
Because I just said it was weird because they won a game against a very good team where they weren't particularly good on the boards. They shot, fine from 3, but not amazing. You had Craig Porter Jr. lead the team in rebounds, which was odd.
That is weird.
And none of the starters had a particularly good game outside of Tyson.
Oh, it was a gritty win.
Yeah, I'm not saying it.
It was an awesome win.
If you look at the stats, if you just looked at the Cavs stats without looking at the Pistons stats, you probably think they would have lost.
Maybe, but the fact that they won a game, they scored 113 points. It didn't have Donovan Mitchell, and Allen gets hurt.
I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it was an odd. I just found it to be an odd game.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything bad about it at all.
No, it's a good win. So that's a playoff win.
It was a good grinded out win.
Yeah.
Couple other things from the game I think are worth at least mentioning. With no Donovan, James was the primary kind of. He was a little sloppy with the basket. Had a couple of uncharacteristic turnovers, but late in the game, the pure presence and gravity that he has and he draws. When Donovan's back in that situation, pick your poison. Good luck.
Right. Yeah.
I understand that Darius, when healthy, was good, but James just has a different gravitas to him that you can't really compare to a Darius Garland. Schroder last night down the stretch had a couple really uncharacteristic turnovers.
15 points?
Right, that was a sloppy turnover.
He had 2 drives in the fourth quarter where you got Tobias Harris on his hip and twisted with the right hand to finish it. Really good.
It was impressive.
And then one other thing I wanted to point out. Detroit, they switched early in the game on Mobley pick and rolls. And this is something we've seen teams do in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And as Mobley continues to get healthier and healthier from this calf strain, something he did last night is something I hope he continues to do as the season progresses. When they switched, once was on Duncan Robinson, you can see the 2 plays here, once was on Javonte Green. He went straight to the post and said, "You're going to put someone smaller and weaker on me? All right, I'm going to get to my spot, and I'm going to finish." That was a nice little
and
hook
he
on the
hasn't
right hand.
consistently done that. Yeah.
Watch this move. Javonte Green, former Cav, spin with the left to the dunk.
Yeah,
now,
that was pretty sweet.
when he's punishing wings like that, it unlocks an entire new wrinkle to this Cavaliers offense because you have to send help when it's a big on a small. And he just hasn't done that consistently enough. And I don't even love Mobley in the post against bigs. But if they're going to switch in the playoffs, if they're going to concede the size mismatch, Evan has to make them pay. And if they send help, he's a good enough passer to kick it out to an open 3-point shooter. I loved what I saw from Mobley in that regard last night.
And if he does that more consistently, then they won't switch.
Exactly. Which then,
or not as often, at least.
And then it puts Harden or Donovan in the advantageous position in those pick and rolls.
But he's got to do that. When he has that mismatch, and he has not consistently done that, that's been a major flaw in his game. But those were both pretty sweet moves.
I mean, the spin to the left with a dunk.
We haven't seen him do moves like that very often.
And it gives me a little confidence that as he comes back off this second calf injury, he's feeling more and more confident in his body, in his explosiveness, that he's willing to kind of pound and take the contact from the defense and back down, keep his balance. And you saw him spin left and you saw him spin right, which means he felt comfortable spinning on both of his lower extremities.
I also think there's less pressure on him than there's ever been, in a way.
Way less.
Right? Because you have 2 superstars on the team. Tyson has emerged, right? And Jarrett Allen's gotten a lot of hype lately. And so he's been under the radar recently, and maybe he's liking that.
It's just nice that Harden specifically takes a ton of heat off him.
Yeah.
You've got 2 superstars now on the team, and he can sort of acquiesce to those guys and feel like, okay, those guys will get some of the headlines and be talked about quite a bit, but like he puts up numbers like he did last night, like he did against the Pistons on Friday. Like, was it Friday or Saturday? Friday. I think he's going to have a nice playoff run for the Cavaliers. Just taking that pressure off him. He looked smoother last night, actually.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he dribbles the ball, and I'm like, this guy just looks nervous.
Yeah.
Didn't look nervous last night.
Yeah, we all wanted him to be the best player on the team. We thought that's the only way they could win.
It's not going to happen.
but maybe he's more comfortable being the third guy, the fourth guy, whatever, and maybe we will see the best of Evan Mobley now.
Sure
and if
hope
that's
so.
the case, if this team's healthy, they could beat anybody.
Right.
Evan Mobley is your third best player, is a top 25 guy.
Right, yeah.
Evan Mobley is your best player, is a top 25 guy. There's a gigantic difference in how good the overall talent on your team is when you stack them like that. And for as much as me and Jason have been the guys like saying, hey, it's Mobley that needs to take that next step.
Yeah.
Go back to what Kobe Altman said before last season. He goes, our franchise will go as far as Evan Mobley goes. By making the Harden trade, it's kind of deviated from that line of thinking and saying, maybe we've reached the end of how high Mobley goes and we need to bring in someone else who raises the ceiling otherwise, and then Mobley kind of slides in and fits into his more natural role.
And give Kobe Altman credit. I think a lot of us, but I'll say especially me, my thoughts on Kobe have gone like, he sucks, he's great. He sucks,
it's like a
he's
heartbeat
great.
monitor.
Because like you go back to signing Kevin Love, which was really stupid, I thought, and back and forth. But now, like, the Harden trade was brilliant. Getting Ellis and Schroder for
nothing.
A guy that wasn't doing anything here.
And Hunter's not playing the rest of the year, by the way. He got an eye infection out for the rest of the year.
And you got rid of two guys that were not getting it done and are injury prone. Well, Darius Gaye's injury prone. There's just a much better mix, chemistry, whatever. It's a whole different vibe to this team.
100%.
Totally, man.
Because before those trades, I didn't think there was any chance they were winning a championship. Now I'm like, okay, I know it would be tough. The Western Conference team deservedly will be the big favorite. But I feel like they can win a championship.
Yep.
Maybe I'm crazy.
No, you're not crazy.
But I think they can.
You're not crazy. May need a little help and maybe a little injury to someone at OKC.
Yeah, we'll see.
Not rooting for it, but you know
what happens.
It happens. So, a couple twisted ankles, be okay.
You take the path that you get.
That's
and
right.
You control the other
That's
part.
right.
That's right.
You mentioned Ellis. And one last thing on Ellis, then I know we got some other stuff we'll get to. He also drew the Cade Cunningham assignment yesterday. And we did a whole you weren't here yesterday. We did a whole Ellis as defensive weapon topic yesterday and what he brings to the table, what he does. His Tasmanian devilness, for lack of a better, he's everywhere on the court at once. Everywhere on the court at once. And we showed a few plays yesterday that kind of demonstrates what he does on any individual possession. And after the game last night, like J.B. Bickerstaff, these are some of his defensive highlights from not last night, but earlier in the season. He's just everywhere at once in a way that you can't really game plan for. Do you remember the clip? I believe it was Peyton Manning. He was talking about Ed Reed, where he had baited Ed Reed in a certain way. Do you know what the clip I'm talking about?
Yes.
And Ed Reed had baited him, and they ran the same look. He gave him the same coverage, and he even ran like 3 steps in the wrong direction. On purpose, then tailed back. You can't prep for that because someone's just playing so instinctual.
Cat and mouse.
Keon Ellis has these weird defensive instincts that you cannot teach. Like you cannot teach.
Did you have it or you don't?
And he doesn't necessarily always follow the proper defensive strategies. And he's not always in the spot that you want on paper this person to be in help position.
But he makes plays.
But because he's so instinctual, he's so intelligent, he's so quick, and his hands are so strong, he makes plays even when he's out of position in ways you can't game plan for. And I think last night when you saw, because Cade had, 6-7 turnovers in the game on top of 14 assists. A couple of those were, Keon Ellis isn't supposed to be in that position. That pass is supposed to be open, but because Keon is just kind of floating in that free safety spot on defense, he's able to make plays that no one else can. And that gives you more offensive possessions. And in a 4-point game like we saw last night, those 2 or 3 possessions are the difference of that game being a 113-109 win, or going to overtime for the second time in as many matchups.